Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone and welcome to This is Football. Welcome to another version of Husam X Tom Little. I had to postpone the stream. I know the people that have subscribed to my channel probably saw it starting at 11. But I postponed it a little bit because I had to go address Paul Machin and the stuff that he said. So yeah, we're here, we're live, we're here ready to talk about, all things Liverpool. And how else than inviting my brother, my brother who's absolutely not scouse, to join me on the channel to talk Liverpool Football Club. As you guys can see in the title, in the words of Ray J, I made that B famous. Of course, brother Tom Little. How are you doing, Tom?
Hello.
Is that it? Is that what you're going to give the people who have been waiting for you?
I mean, they've been waiting for you, is what they've been waiting for, and they're completely within their right to have a moan. Can't remember the last time you're actually on time for a stream here.
I was on time today for the watch along.
Oh, it's a nice change. At least you didn't sleep through this one.
On your head top. Anyway, before we get into it, Tom, can you imagine? We haven't even started yet. There's 250 people here. You know, that's great, right? Isn't it, Tom?
It's good, yeah. It's good. Right. I'm tired and I'm ill.
Go on.
And I'm tired, I'm ill, and Husam decided to start beef with Paul Machin, so I've had to wait another hour before I can get on this stream.
Sorry, my bad. Anyway, everyone watching us right now or on the replay, because I know a whole lot of you guys like to watch us on the replay, please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're ready to do so. Every single person watching us right now, please do like the video, please do subscribe. Keep getting it in the comment section down below. We're going to try get to as many comments as possible. Before we get started, big up to Joe Cavalier, who says, third bid rejected, 6 days away. Defense in shambles. Schmatka's a joke. 22 players. No depth, no cover. Alisson must remain healthy. PR crap galore. Cheap third-rate players fill in. BS crap. Have you ever seen a more fulfilling super chat than this our whole life? He mentioned every single thing.
He went for everything.
Yeah, he brought it for everything. I can't lie, Joe. I can just read the super chat and end the stream. Like, you just mentioned everything. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, it's just like it's getting to the stage, Joe, where it's actually sad. And I'm gonna personally DM you as soon as we get. Even the comments are like top super chat, Joe. Joe, as soon as we get the plane ready, I'm gonna DM you, brother. I'm gonna DM you. Anyway, listen. Husam X Tom Little's intense. You guys already know. So I don't want to keep stopping it to go like and subscribe. Stop being boring. 300 people here, minimum 150 likes. That's what we need. So anyway, please do like the video, please subscribe, and listen. Tom Little touched on it, so I'm gonna just address it quickly. Before we get to the football side of things, the whole situation with Paul Machin. Clearly, once again, the one thing I like about myself, when I call out people, I call them out by their name. People who watched me last summer know exactly who I called out by name. Let's not say that now, bring up old beefs. There's new beefs for us to bring up. So I call out people by name. I don't do the whole indirect stuff. I'm here, alhamdulillah, and I give my opinions, always my honest opinions. There is no ulterior motive like Klopp exclusives or shit like that. I'm just out here speaking my honest opinion. And we've got the likes of Paul Machin going out there on Redmen TV and he came out and he said stuff about people who are FSG out, making it their personality trait. My brother, FSG in is your personality trait. You're the guy who wants to be positive all the time, not me. At least I stick to my opinions because of the situation that we're in currently as a football club. Second of all, you call the plain protests cringeworthy more than Robert Lewandowski's TikToks. Now, the reality is the plane is only a form of protest. And there's a real scouser, who actually stated his opinion as a matchgoer. He actually lives 2 minutes away from Anfield. So let's just quickly hear James Redmond's opinion on the plane protest. There has been, and I don't know if you've met Kurdish or worked with him yet, but essentially there is a plan for another FSG Out plane protest. So it's a form of protest. I know you've probably heard of the first two. So what are your thoughts on it? As someone who does go to Anfield, and like, what do you recognize that as some form of protest at least?
Absolutely. I actually think it's probably the most action that I've seen, and I'm very proud of everybody involved in these little, you know, the setups. And I understand some people can think and twist it and say, oh, it's an inconvenience, it's this, it's that, it's the other.
I'm going to post the whole clip on Twitter. That's James Redman, local Scouser, lives 2 minutes away from Anfield, and he's for the plane. My problem is, I'm not the one generalizing. I've never said all Scousers are blah, blah, blah. I have a problem with Paul's generalizations. Why are you saying it's not true representations? Why are you acting like all Scousers, all matchgoers are FSG in? Tom Little is FSG out. James Redman's FSG out. Lois and Luis are FSG out. I can mention about 20 Scousers right now off the top of my head that are FSG out. There are content creators who are Scouts who are also FSG out. There are matchgoers who are non-Scouts, like the likes of Ahmed and like the likes of Kurdish and many others who are also FSG out. You've got Terence Tibbs who always watches the show. I think he's probably asleep now. See, he's in the comments. There you are. Terry Tibbs. He's Scouts, born and bred, and he's FSG out. You've got someone who watches my channel as well, Danny. Also Scouts and FSG out. Why do we always act like it's just the foreigners who are FSG out? It's just the non-locals. I've never generalized Scousers. I've never ever said, oh, these locals. I've never been part of that debate, because I know for a fact there are locals, there are people born and bred in the city who are FSG out. And that's the reality. They need to stop generalizing. And final point before I let Tom go. Let me agree with you, as I said in the video. And let me say, they are cringe. Plain protests are cringe. You own the biggest Liverpool channel. Let's organize a protest. Me and you will work on it together. And let's get people to actually go to Anfield and protest. What's so difficult about that? Isn't it cringe? No problem. It is cringe. Let's organize a real protest then, in your own words. Wow. That shouldn't be difficult, should it? Go ahead, Tom.
I just think the whole thing about criticising the plain protest, that is, and saying, oh, if you want to go do something, go to Anfield yourself. You end up touching on it later on. I think that was a sort of realisation of, oh, I sounded wrong, because, like you said, there's a lot of people who can't get to Anfield. It's not a God-given right to be at Anfield on a match day. And that is... Liverpool Football Club prides itself on being a global club. I mean, we do pre-season tours all around the world. We've got fans all around the world. These protests, these fans deserve their chance to voice their opinion and voice their action. And to just knock them down because you disagree with it is, I think, a little bit disingenuous. It'd be like, let's say they had... Let's say the Hickson started again, and for some reason you believe they were good owners. I'm just using that because I know that was one they were asked about. And you disagree with them. You wouldn't sit there and go, oh, you're not, no, it's cringy that you're trying to protest and get them out. Everyone's entitled, it's freedom of speech. You don't have to agree with it, but I think it's very wrong to knock it, especially when it's how football clubs are able, it's how these football fans are able to protest for these football clubs. They can't get to Anfield. They can't, they're not able to. And I think it's a very dangerous narrative to just run with. Be it Anfield, because then you're almost suggesting, you're almost saying that one set of fans is better than the other. And very dangerous narrative to run with that. Very, very dangerous narrative to run with, because it's very disingenuous. There are reasons why certain people can't get to games. There's certain reasons why people can't go to things. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's a cost of living crisis right now. I know people who don't go to games because they just simply can't afford it. But they're diehard Liverpool fans, so because they don't go Anfield anymore, are they less of a fan? Does their opinion matter less? I just think it's wrong to say. And the generalisation point, again, you were... I remember when they came into the space and it was all about the generalisation points that he was saying on the overlap and this, that and the other. It's a very double-edged sword. Ultimately, you say stuff like that, it's going to come back and bite you. I think I just completely disagree with it. Every football fan is equal. They're all entitled to their own opinion. I don't think you're right to knock anyone's on that ultimately, because the playing process is your way of doing it. You can't get to Anfield, but you're able to get your message across, and you're able to do what you wanted to do. Were their protests against Hicks and Gillette not cringy at the time in their, in certain people's eyes, when they were putting banners up outside the stadium and everything? It all comes down to a matter of opinion, but I think it's a very dangerous thing to do that. I think it's a really
Since we're on the topic, what are your thoughts on this?
On the Carragher outburst, it comes down to the fact that,
would you even consider it an outburst, to be fair? I think he just spoke reality for a tweet.
Like,
yeah.
I think he knew. I think it's been his belief all along. I just think he's someone who, maybe because he was at the club when FSG were there or whatever, or maybe it's because he works for Sky Sports and this, that, and the other. He was very professional and, towing company lines and everything. Ultimately, the Romeo Lavia stuff today is turned the corner, turned the real corner on a lot of things. And I hope that it sends us into action. I really hope that it sends us into action, because when you've got the likes of Carragher being the first domino that falls, I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of the bandwagoners in the fan base who can be overly positive or overly negative and this, that, and the other, because Jamie Carragher's come out and said something now negative, all of a sudden everything starts to pick up speed around it because, you've got a big name saying it. Ultimately, it's the message that's been parroted around for 2 to 3 weeks. Different ways of saying it, but it's the same message. You had to get it done sooner. And if you weren't getting it done sooner, you had to get the negotiations right. Ultimately, this football club has failed on both accounts, and only managed to result in making, for the first time in what I believe is 7 or 8 years minimum, the first time I've actually seen a football club up their asking price mid-negotiation because we took the piss.
And Ash is asking for my opinion too. Look, I'm not gonna, same way I won't praise FSG for doing the bare minimum, I won't really praise Sky for saying this. I need them to go on Sky and apply pressure and say that these ownerships have let the fans down, they've let Klopp down. And today I actually got into an argument with Kurdish himself. Nilut Pal know this. People who were in the space earlier on know this. Even Klopp is like, oh my God, Klopp this, Klopp that. Even Kurdish, sorry, is like, Klopp this, Klopp that. You want to hear the reality? This is the first time I feel like Klopp is actually genuinely blameless. I've never ever said these words ever, because I've always said Klopp needs a little bit of blame. I genuinely believe this is the first summer where I'm actually not even going to blame the guy, because you look at the people we've been linked with. It's well documented he wanted Jude. We did Intensity, where Barella's name is written. We know they went back in for Chouameni. We know they went back in for Caicedo. So we know that he wants the best of the best. Now, if they're not giving him the best of the best, I don't know what else to say, Ash. Anyway, look, I want to move on from this FSG topic. Before I do, let me just run through these super chats quickly. Big up my brothers. I've been told someone by someone who I trust that a fourth bid did go. And by the way, is Paul Machin a Man United fan or an Everton fan? I'd say probably more like an Everton fan, the way he has standards. At least Man United fans got the United Liverpool fan game cancelled, Ryan. So thank you for the super chat, Ryan. Thank you so much for always supporting the channel and the message, my brother. I appreciate you. Terry is speaking the facts as per usual, saying, because Husam, it's easier to point the finger at you. You best believe it's easier to point the finger at me, but I'm not responsible for our club's mess up. The club is, not me. So that's the issue. Thank you so much, Terry. Maybe we should do an FSG Out petition and get votes. I mean, even if we do get votes, that would change anything, to be honest with you. I don't think that would be taken to government. Big up to AJ, who says, I can't lie, it's mad how a club like Spurs, whose owner is currently going through an indictment, are spending way more money than big Liverpool. That's insane. And Rakesh, who's actually Rax, who comes on this channel, one of the calmest guys, even he lost his head today. Even he was like, forget comparing us to City, forget comparing us to PSG. We're not even spending like Arsenal. Sometimes we're not even spending like Spurs. Sometimes we're not even spending like any of these clubs. That's the crazy part, AJ. Thank you so much for the super chat. And finally, BIG says, Sam, I watched 97% of your streams. A few months ago, I remember Tom Little recommended McAllister and you were against it. Tom, do you remember? I don't think I was against it. I just said Caicedo was better.
But that was the thing. You didn't have McAllister in your dream midfield three. I did.
I had
And
Caicedo in
you
my one.
tried to clown me for that one as well. You tried to.
No, but I
clown
still
me for
stick by the fact
McAllister.
that I think Caicedo is better than McAllister. I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah, maybe he is, but I ultimately thought this team needed McAllister more. When you watch McAllister play, this team needs a McAllister more. I
think McAllister is an all-rounder, but I think Caicedo would have solved a lot more problems for us. Is that fair to say?
Now, yes, but back when I made the assumption, no, because you still had Fabinho around, who was better than the shambles that we've chucked there right now.
Yeah, but in hindsight, you know that Fabinho would have left.
No, but we didn't know that at the time, did we?
I had a gut instinct.
Bollocks, no, you didn't, because you were the one harping on about, oh no, we need to keep him, he'll be all right. But once you get the midfielders around him, he won't need to run around as much. His legs will get back, this, that, and the other. Ultimately, if you were to judge it now, I'm obviously need the Caicedo more because you've got no DM. But at the time, it was who's going to replace Henderson, and McAllister was the better fit. So ultimately, I was right, Husam.
Listen, I'm not going to give you that. I'm not going to give you that yet.
But
let me ask you just a quick question finally on this
little thing. And when I come in with like Mike Ross suits level of evidence, bang, 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 he's like, I'm not giving you that. Look at this, man.
This is the final question I want to ask you on this topic before we move on to the game and stuff. Do you believe Klopp is blameless or not? Because he's saying he's never blameless. He gave FSG a free pass all these years. Things piled up. World-class managers must demand. Even Arteta demands. Don't you think he demanded this summer specifically, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's a very weird one. I think it's very hard to do just blames on individual seasons. I really do, because ultimately in the sport of football, everything's compounded. When I look at it, this is probably the season where he's been the most divisive. This is probably the season where I've seen the biggest change in him, i.e. he's got rid of the players that I thought would be staying. He's brought in different types of players. You know, there's been a clear level of change. But we are still paying for the mistakes that we made by him last season. And whether we should be or not is a different argument, but we are still paying for them. Ultimately, I think it's very hard to blame him for this summer's transfer window. But the reason we are in this situation for this summer is because of his mistakes in the past 12 months. So if you want to give him long-term blame, sure. But from June 1st to now, I think it's very hard to point the finger at him for transfer window stuff. On the pitch stuff, I think there's a different question. I really do, because I think there's a couple of tactical things that are really sort of confusing me.
Let's not talk about Amarim hype now. I'm gonna let it go.
It's not even about that. It's just about like, we can move on to this one. We'll touch on the game because it's part of the game. And Andy Robertson, very divisive.
Before we do, we have to thank the people. We have to thank Qusay. We have to thank Joe, BIG. I don't know why I say BIG.
Yeah, big ups BIG.
Ryan, Terry, Ash, Nadran for the super chats. Big up to you guys, man. Big up to everyone who sent in all the love and support over this month. You guys have been elite. I'm even going to increase Tom Little's pay to £3 a stream. So he's making a whole lot of money, man. Big up to you guys. Make sure you're all liking the video. Make sure you're all subscribing. Tom, there's about 500 people here on a weekday to watch us on midnight. Are you mad? Tom Little, you made it. Listen, you can call.
It's because you started the beef with Paul Machin. That's what it is.
No. You want to bet? You want to run this back again tomorrow without beef? You want to run this back again tomorrow, inshallah, without beef? You want to bet we'll get similar numbers? Don't disrespect my legacy like that.
We'll get similar numbers because tomorrow will be the Romeo Lavia. Here we go.
Oh, okay, Mr. Fucking Insider over here. Come on, man. You know what's the worst part? I'm gonna be honest with you. Like the kind of the hype has died over the Lavia thing a little bit because we've been waiting.
It's gonna be underwhelming when he gets here because you're gonna sit there and go, we could have done with this ages ago.
You wanna know, Tom, what's the most irritating part? We're probably gonna pay the 50 million, and all we're thinking is, why the hell did we just pay the 50 million fucking 4 weeks ago and got the guy and got it done with?
The whole Romeo Lavia situation is an absolute shambles. Me and you had very differing views on it a week ago. very different views, and we had.
Do you want us to start with Lavia or the game? I'll let you decide.
We'll start with that. I think people are more asked about Lavia. Like, it's a pre-season
Go
finale.
on,
I don't like we can touch on the minuscule aspects of it, but with Lavia, I think it was me and you had very different views a week ago. We disagreed very pointedly.
Go
Look
on.
at him go. Ultimately, my stance was you fucked up by not getting him earlier. So, in the context of the situation we are in, you should negotiate if you believe you can get the deal done. What has happened is this football club has managed to fuck up negotiations so badly that we've now managed to make the asking club increase their price mid-negotiation. They went from 50 million to over 50 million. How have you managed that? How have you managed that? If that is the case, because they've managed to sell Livramento, so they've got more money, so there's less of a reason to sell. If that is the case that they have upped the asking price to over 50 million, then you're in real trouble. You're in real trouble. Because I thought paying the 50 million would be bad enough. Could you imagine, Husam, our standing in the transfer market if we cave and pay 55 for a player that we don't even believe is worth 50 because we've managed to mess up negotiations that badly? Like, that would be an embarrassment, and I think it's a real concern. I'd like to believe now.
If we buy him for 50, would you fall back and say you were wrong? Because that would disprove your entire logic of us negotiating.
No, because my point still stands. We don't believe he's worth 50 million.
Okay, but if we pay 15, then it just disproves this whole logic.
It doesn't, though, because ultimately I still stand by the fact that if you spent 3 to 4 weeks going, we're not going to pay 50, we're not going to pay 50, we're not going to pay 50, and then pay 50. Or, yes, you get your player in, whoop-de-doo. But then other clubs will look at it and go, we don't actually need to negotiate with you. If we just keep saying, no, we want this, no, we want this, no, we want this, eventually it'll cave, and then we'll get the money that we want.
Wait, you really don't think it's a mistake still? I thought after today specifically, you would have thought what you said is wrong. Because if we end up getting him for 50,
I don't believe what I said was wrong.
Because we did what we were supposed to do anyway. That's my thing. Why did we wait?
My ultimate stance is we should have bought him much earlier than we did. We should have went in much earlier than we did. That was my thing. Isn't on July 1st we should have been negotiating. My thing was we should have been negotiating well before that. He should have been through the door before August, but he's not. So considering the situation on August 1st or August 2nd, whenever it was, you didn't, and we knew at that point he wasn't going to play against Chelsea because that's what has been said by the journos. There was no point in rushing negotiations because the club seemed to believe that they could reach a compromise. They still surprisingly do, so I'd love to know what this compromise is. Are we going to celebrate getting £2 million off his price tag after 4 weeks of negotiations? Because at that point it's not going to look great. It's really not.
But if we don't get him for under 50, it just undervalues all this. It just makes all this time wasted pointless, is it not?
For a club that I think has had a really strong window to start off with in terms of everything, they've managed to undo it all very quickly. And it's disappointing. Like, do you know what it's like? Have you ever seen
I've never heard that truer statement come out your mouth. You know how excited me and you both were after Szoboszlai?
Is that the
Remember
race?
how excited we were just as we signed Szoboszlai?
We thought we were winning it all, mate.
Shane, if this happens, me and Tom both will fight. If this happens, you cannot be taking the piss now. Like, come on, 2 million. I think if we offer 48, they'd go like, just because you fucked around, we want 60 now. I promise you that.
You know we've done this. You know we've done this transfer window. It's like the turtle in the hair or whatever the thing is. We're the hair. We've legged it to start off with. We've got McAllister and Szoboszlai through the door. We're loving it, and then we just want to fucking sleep. We just want to sleep in the middle of the racetrack. And all the other teams around us, your Arsenals, your Tottenhams, your Cities, your Uniteds, your Chelseas, they've all started continually adding. So all them tortoises have overtook us. And we're still fucking asleep because we can't wake up from the dream of, we don't want to pay this much. So ultimately, all the hard work that was done has now been undone, and it does put a lot of pressure. This is what I do have a bit of sympathy on Klopp. It does put a lot of pressure on Klopp to be able to acclimatise the new players in very quickly and very smoothly mid-season. Because Romeo Lavia will be handed the debut in the Premier League. The centre-back we signed, straight away debut in the Premier League. Hopefully we get another centre mid in as well. They're going straight into the Premier League. There's no pre-season games for them to try and get used to it all. It's straight in to the most important games for us. It's going to come with a lot of pressure. And ultimately, that is where I do feel a little bit of sympathy for Jurgen and go, it is...
Tom, he doesn't even want Lavia. He wanted Chouameni. You know this. You know it.
Yeah, but I also think then I will also sit there and say, you also can't expect unrealistic things. Chouameni fucked us off last summer. I'd never believed at any point Chouameni
was going to be unrealistic things. Is Gvardiol unrealistic things?
This
77 million is not unrealistic. Be real.
Yes, 77 million is not unrealistic, but who knows what the situation was with him this summer?
Oh, here we go again. Who knows hype? Here we go.
It ultimately is that though, isn't it? It ultimately is.
Which was the better player to buy for us to buy? Which was the better player for us to buy from Leipzig? Gvardiol or Szoboszlai? Right now, say it.
Who would I rather have bought this summer?
From Leipzig, if you had one choice, Szoboszlai or Gvardiol.
Szoboszlai.
You are so full of shit because you didn't even have him in your dream midfield. I did.
Yeah, I never had Gvardiol in my ideal defence either.
Oh, there you are.
What do you mean, there you are? It's a matter of fact, though. Ultimately, we needed what Szoboszlai brings more so. Because at the time,
you just want to prove that you're right. Essentially, that's your logic.
It's not that, Husam. It's not that. I ultimately look at it and go,
I need like an espresso just to deal with your shit. Carry on. I'm gonna make it in 10 seconds. Carry on. Carry on, Tom. How are you quiet when I want you to speak?
I am carrying on. You've interrupted me. It comes down to the fact that I don't believe Jurgen Klopp wants to play a back three this season. I don't believe he does. I don't believe he does. I look at what's happening with Andrew Robertson at the minute. I look at it and I go, for him to do that consistently, game in, game out, every single attack, that is a tactical instruction. He's being told to do that from Jurgen Klopp. That is not him being a dope. That's not him just going walkabouts. Because if that was him going walkabouts, if that was him not following instructions, then Jurgen Klopp should have benched him, should have dropped him. Because I've said this multiple times, and the argument they always give us is, who can he replace him with? A player who will do the job that you want. If Andy Robertson isn't doing the job you want, then he's shit. Whether you like it or not, he's shit. So putting in the likes of a Jarrod Quansah is not going to drop the level. It's not. It's really not going to drop the level. I ultimately look at it and go, I believe Jurgen Klopp. When I look at what has been done in these pre-season games,
see how heavy this bastard is, just for you. Go on.
When you look at his comments, especially after the game today, where he said when he said
is the copy flustering you that much?
No, I was reading the comment from Yuvraj. If he has no one else to play there other than Robertson because he can't trust Gomez and Matip, the whole point of this is he can't trust Robertson either. So if I can't trust him, I know I can't trust him. I might as well play the other player that I can't trust, but I've never tried in a position before because he might shock me. Ultimately, Jurgen Klopp, if Robertson isn't following instructions and he continues to play him, is insane. It is insanity. But
so you would rather Kinder Surprise over Kinder Bueno. That's essentially what you're saying.
Because it's not like the Kinder Bueno is doing its job.
Kinder Bueno tastes like shit, so let me at least get a toy in the Kinder Surprise.
Andy Robertson is not doing it. people believe Robertson's not doing his job. If that's the case, and Jurgen Klopp has told him that, he needs to drop him. That's my stance on it.
What's the
But
situation
I
with
don't
Robertson
believe that's
from
the
your
thing.
mind?
What? Like,
Because you mentioned Robertson's name about 500 times. What's the situation in your head like with the whole Robertson situation?
I believe Jurgen Klopp is telling him to attack. And for me, I believe that Jurgen Klopp's ultimate plan is to buy a DM who tucks in at centre-back. So the DM will go into centre-back. Robertson then gets the license to bomb forward with added cover. Trent operates as a deep line 6 on his own, which is why you saw him played in that position at the start of pre-season. But throughout this pre-season, we have lacked one thing, and we've talked about it all summer, Husam. An actual fucking DM. Therefore, we have tried to play a system which is so heavily reliant on a DM being able to drop into centre-back and used Curtis Jones, Alexis McAllister, and McConnell. Do you want to know my favourite recent fact I found out, Husam? I'd argue McConnell's been arguably our best DM this pre-season, or at least the most consistent one. He's not even a DM. He's an attacking midfielder who has had to be played at DM because we have no DM. McConnell's an attacking midfielder who's had to play the role, and he's been the best option so far. That is even worse. Ultimately, Jurgen Klopp this pre-season has played the system that he wants us to eventually operate in, but he lacks the players to do it. And it has exposed the weaknesses of the system when you don't have the key cogs. It is pointed out the key cogs of the system. It's pointed out if you...
Do you understand why I would have kept Fabinho now? Or are you still going to be arrogant?
No, I still believe we should have sold Fabinho.
Arrogance is a bad trait to have, you know.
It's not arrogance.
It's very bad.
It's not arrogance.
Sometimes you have to be humble and say, Tom Little, I was wrong. Husam, you educated me and I should have listened.
Husam,
Yes.
because it's a completely different context. If I will admit I'm wrong if come September 1st, when the transfer window shuts.
Oh, so not September 1st. So August 13th don't matter then.
Ultimately, no, because not.
Ultimately, no. That's mad.
They're not going to play now, anyway. My point is, if on September 1st, when the window shuts, if on September 1st, when the window shuts, we do not have a DM that I deem good enough for that role, I'll sit there and hold my hands and say we shouldn't have sold Fabinho. But until the window shuts and until we can't buy another DM for that spot, I will still have the maybe misguided hope, maybe belief that the DM will come in that is Jurgen Klopp's dream player for that role. Fabinho wouldn't be able to do that because it would just be exposing his issues. We sit there. Our main issue with him last season was his legs were gone. He was doing too much running. For what I believe Jurgen Klopp wants the DM to do now, the DM has to run a lot. They have to go in at left centre-back when we have the ball, then back out to DM when we lose the ball, then do the normal DM defensive job, which is shuttling, then be able to drop back into left centre-back, all while Robertson's bobbing up and down and not getting back quick enough. There's a lot more running.
Do you think Klopp is asking Robertson to do all this, or is he just the guy who's like...
I believe that Jurgen Klopp is asking him to, because I have a lot of respect for Jurgen Klopp. I think Jurgen Klopp is a very...
No, sorry, let me rephrase the question. Do you think... Wow. Do you think Klopp is asking him to play that role, or is it just natural instinct for him to fly up the pitch? He doesn't understand
I think Jurgen Klopp's asking him to, because...
But what's your evidence for that, though?
Because of the fact that Jurgen Klopp continues to play him and not have a moan or not drop him. Ultimately, Jurgen Klopp is a very strong-willed man. If a player is ignoring what Jurgen Klopp is asking, the man will drop the player because you're not following instructions. You're at an actual detriment to the team. And ultimately, Andrew Robertson there's been nothing about him being dropped, which makes me worry that it's an actual tactical instruction. Should it be the way we play? No. Because we're now playing with a fucking back two. In it, when we get counter-attacked, we have a back two. When has that ever worked in the world of football? When has that ever worked in the world? When's a back two ever worked?
You know, when Redmond said we're actually going to beat teams 4-3, I thought he was joking. I can't lie. It might have to be that type of vibes. Like, it might be just vibes.
It's stupid because you go back to the successful sides of the Jurgen Klopp era. What was their best attribute?
There's no way this guy just said this. There's actually no way.
Husam, do you want we can't. He's gone already. He's got to Fiorentina. We can't even get him back. He's off the table. He's off the table. Arthur Mello. Arthur Mello managed to be sold by
the super chat, man.
Arthur Mello managed to be sold by Juventus before we could even put in a fucking bid for a DM.
He actually, you know what pisses me off till this day? He actually played 0 Premier League minutes. Not even one.
Husam, come on. The Queen died, and it's their fault why he didn't play.
The guy came on for against Napoli, huffed and puffed for 10 minutes, and that's all we saw of Arthur Mello all year long. Anyway, let me run through these super chats quickly before we just touch on the game.
Have you not seen what his most recent thing Arthur Mello's done is?
What?
Mr. Beast done like some Twitter thing where if you had the most liked reply, he'd give you such and such, and Arthur Mello fucking replied to it.
Then we pay the guy
scammed 140 grand a week off us for 52 fucking weeks, and he's replying to Mr. Beast to win some fucking money.
It is what it is.
You know what?
He's limited by FSG.
I feel sorry. I feel sorry for that woman that kept popping up on his stories who was teaching him English. It was fucking pointless because he never needed it, did he?
He just went back to
use the English.
Yeah, he just went back to Italy anyway. He never even used it. Big up to Joe. He says he's limited by FSG not willing to spend money. Completely agree. He's shown the willingness to buy players if they can deliver. That's not his fault. Big up to John, who says we definitely need to get a left centre back in ASAP because Robertson can't play in the new formation the amount of times he was out of position today. Do you agree with this sentiment?
I would play this system with an actual left centre back, but I don't believe Jurgen Klopp wants to. I believe whether it's misguided loyalty to Andy Robertson.
It is, and me and you both know that. You know why I've given up on this topic to begin with? It's because I just think Robertson's going to start anyway. Me and you could speak on it logically for the next hour, and Robertson's going to start. What? So why do we just?
I can explain why he's going to start, but I can't explain why it will work because it won't. You're asking way too many. You're asking way too many players to do.
So can you explain why he's going to start then?
He's going to start because Jurgen Klopp believes that the way to play this system is with Andrew Robertson bombing on. So he said, people have kept trying to throw this to me when I mentioned this. They pulled up a quote that he said after buy-in, and he said, "What can't happen is we have one fullback bombing up and the other in the middle, or like advanced in the middle." I think is what he said. So ultimately, do you want my call honest belief?
Yes.
I believe he's going to tell Trent to sit back. He's going to give Andy Robertson, the fullback, as the license of freedom to keep bombing on that left-hand side. And do you want to know what my biggest gripe is? I love Andy Robertson. I think he's a fucking fantastic left back. Ultimately, the issue now is, for the role we're asking him to do, he is not a Bugatti Veyron. The way he attacks is get to the fucking byline. So in his ideal world, he runs all the way down, gets to the byline, and cuts back. If that cut back is intercepted by the opposition, Andy Robertson then has to run from one goal to the other. That is where it kills us because we don't know who's supposed to cover. Trent will drop in at right back. We're then left with no left back. Then the DM can drop in at left back. But then you've got McAllister and Szoboszlai. Both of them want to attack. One of them has to be the DM. So we're back at square one, ultimately, of where we are now, where we're trying to figure out which attacking midfielder should be a DM. It doesn't make sense.
Speaking of DM, your bestie has a question for you. Tom, my man, I got a question. Do you think, by the way, 100% selection is going to be your first super chat when you're monetized? I promise you. Do you think our issue is bigger than DM, irrespective of it being an experienced one? I do. Systematic issue, in my opinion.
I think a lot of our issue...
Selection, can you promise me right now you're going to be Tom's first super chat? And your first super chat has to be Husam sent me and make it $1.99 just for the vibes. Can you do that for me, Selection? Let me know as he answers. Go ahead.
our problem is it's ultimately a collection of smaller issues that just congregate together. Buying a good DM, i.e. Romeo Lavia, will solve the majority of them. And it just
Thank
leaves
you
the
for being
issue
real. Thank you.
It just leaves the issue of left centre back. Thank you very much, selection. It just leaves the issue of left centre back, and this is where I think it's going to come down to Jurgen. We want a centre back this summer. I wouldn't be shocked, Husam, if it isn't a left-sided one. I really do believe he's going to try and do this Robertson thing.
I think so
like,
too.
like
Guys, buckle up. Robertson's going to be the LCB.
Evolution.
Give up. Like, LCB is Robertson's place. Why are we fighting?
Do you know when, like,
what are we fighting
for? When they say these managers revolutionise the English game, Jurgen Klopp obviously sees this back two as his piece de resistance. His Mona Lisa of football is a back two with a left back bombing on further on than his left wing.
I don't know how you watch Liverpool and you think it's a 3-4-3. It's actually a 2-5-3. That's the reality. I promise you.
It's not even that. Do you know what it is? It's a 2-1-1, 2-3, and an Andy Robertson over at the left corner flag. That's what it is. There is no structure to this. There's no actual realistic formation at points. It is like, it reminds me of like under 8 footy when you just throw the ball in there and everyone starts to chase it.
That's why we need drama.
I will never. You know what? I will drop my levels at certain points with this football club, but at no point in this window.
This is the same guy that wanted Mason Mount. Mason Mount is looking worse than McTominay in pre-season, and this is the same guy that wanted him talking about dropping levels.
I don't think Manchester United was the right club to go to for Mason Mount.
Oh, okay, that's such a cop out. Such a cop out.
No, it's not. They're playing him in a double pivot.
Yeah, isn't he supposed to be able to play there? Where were we gonna play him? Striker?
I was gonna play him in the Szoboszlai role.
Oh God. Klopp can't cover for FSG forever. There will be a time this will come to an end. Yes, and people who think Klopp needs to resign for FSG to go, I think you're very misguided. That's just not gonna happen. I'll be so real with you. Even if Klopp leaves, that doesn't guarantee FSG is gonna leave. Big up to you, Nadra. There's no way this is real. It's not like work child labor. That is, I can't lie to you. You and Trust win the 2 super chats of the stream war. This is a crazy super chat. Man said, isn't making Tom Little work considered child labor? This is one of the best super chats of all time, bro. Big up to you, Zlatan. I don't even want to say back. Liverpool have ruined the potential dream window with shabby negotiations. We wasted 6 weeks pondering on targets as well as submitting bids weekly. Listen, my brother, I agree with you. It's sad how much time we've wasted. We wasted so much time just BSing.
Why can this football club only negotiate on one target at a time?
I was about to say that as well. Why? Like, it's either like we are actually moving like kids in kindergarten. Like, we have to learn A before we learn B. But as grown adults,
we're not looking at exclusive relationships with the clubs we negotiate with. We're not like in relationships with the clubs we're negotiating with. It's not like, we can only talk to Southampton. No, you can ring the other side pieces and go, can we have your centre back? Can we have your midfielder? Even if you have
and talk to them too.
Yeah. Like, I don't get why us negotiating with Southampton has stopped us talking to like a Leon for a Lukaber or something, or a Sporting for a Nasio, or a Fulham for Adebayo. No, the only player we could have bought was fucking Bella Kotchap, because apparently we only want to speak to Southampton for the next month. I reckon, I reckon there is? I reckon when Jorg rings that Southampton phone, there's a bird on the other side. A bird answers the phone. So instead of negotiating the Lavia transfer, he's just been trying to chat this bird up who answers the Southampton phone. Which is why the bid only comes in once a week, because the actual Southampton director of football answers the phone once a week. That's what
Big up to you, Buck. Memphis says, with no DM, do we finish above us, Man United? Do you think we finish above Man United regardless? I think so.
Without a DM, no.
I think even without a DM, we finish above you, Memphis. Sorry to break it.
Who do we play?
We got to Joe Cavalier.
If we don't sign Lavia, if we don't sign a DM, you're asking Bajcetic to play that role for 38 games.
I still think we finish above United anyway. This is
I
not
think,
Liverpool.
I think if
This
you,
is not
if you give me
Liverpool
Lavia,
prop.
yes. If you give me Lavia, yes, but otherwise, no. I just
Yeah,
think
but this is not Liverpool prop. This is not Liverpool prop. This is Man United hate. Take a look at the bids 37, 41, 45.5. And he bets that the bid will be 47.5 with add-ons. They have already made it clear 50 million. They will never agree below 50 million. That's what I'm saying to Tom.
Do you know what the best one would be, Husam? Do you know what the best one would be? If we walk in there with a 49.5 million bid.
I promise you they won't accept that. I promise
Oh
you.
no,
They'd
they won't.
actually,
They'd up the price again. They'd up the price again because we took the piss. That'd be like when Arsenal offered 40 million and £1. If we went in there with 49.5 because we don't want to pay 50, they'd tell us to do one.
What are they smoking over there at Anfield? Someone's gonna tweet that. You best believe. You best believe.
No. It's not an Anfield because Jorg spends all his time in Ibiza. That was another thing I found out the other day. We've got Jorg in. All we've done is give him a phone. He spends the majority of his time in a villa in Ibiza negotiating transfers. So when we're stressing out, when me and you were on stream stressing out about are we gonna get a DM through the door, he's getting fucking waved in Ibiza with a company phone and a company credit card instead of negotiating the transfer for fucking Lavia.
Listen, it's wild. Big up to you, Joe. We're just an accessory to Henry's business. I think so too. I think he's just keeping us around until the whole NBA thing happens. Like it's a possibility as well. He's just gonna quickly sell us as soon as
the fuck have I
because
just
make sure 1 second, Tom. Make sure to never ever believe the people that tell you Liverpool have no bidders because that's just BS. Don't ever think that a club the size of Liverpool will be up for sale and we won't have any bidders. Come on. Robertson isn't a headless chicken like Henderson. He's intelligent and knows what's happening. This is 100% a tactical problem. Klopp must adapt it. I hear where you're coming from, and I think that's reality because I think Klopp also needs to pull Robertson to the side, City, which I think what this is exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you. And just break it down to him. Tell him, like, don't attack all the time. You have to stay and help Virgil and Konate out. Like, that goal today that we conceded could have been stopped if Robertson stayed back, for example. It's a possibility. You never know. And I agree with you, Sidi. Thank you so much. Big up to Shane, who says, Husam sent me. Happy birthday, Tom. Big up to you, Shane, man. W for this guy. Thank you so much, Shane. This is one of Redmond's guys. Big up to you, Shane, man. And listen, selection, don't make anyone, send the first super chat before you. Don't ever do that, my brother. Make sure you're the first super chat selection and just make it Husam sent me $1.99. What the?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Is this what you've been doing all this to?
Where's this come from?
And he's made an account called Tom Little's girlfriend as well. You know how mad that is?
Who's even in the fucking photo? I don't even know what the fuck.
Yo, let's just look at the phone because that looks like a United player. Is that Mason Mount? Oh my god, one second.
No, it's not Mason Mount.
Look at your phone, Tom. I think you can see it on your phone.
I can just full screen it.
Who is that?
It's Alessio Russo.
I have no idea who that is.
Do you know what it is? That is 100% someone who was in a Redmond stream on Sasti. 100%. You know what? I actually.
You were on a Redmond stream?
I kind of rate the effort to make an entirely new account.
You were on a Redmond stream?
That's funny.
You were on a Redmond stream?
Yeah, on Sasti.
You really were?
Yes.
Did they tell you to stop working with me?
No, I said Redmond.
You suck, man. I thought Redmond TV, man. Come on. Redmond is part of us anyway. Just wait until shit hits the fan and Paul Machin, etc. say they were FSG out all along. It's clear to see the silence is telling from them. Bellens, Scouser Doyle. By the way, speaking of Scousers who are FSG out, Scouser Doyle in front of your face. Right here, right now. Scouse, born and bred. No wool, none of that. Real Scouser right here, Doyle. And he's FSG out. Dunk on their head top, Doyle. Dunk on their head top. None of this fake Scouse Garston shit. You're from the actual Liverpool City. Big up to you, man. Big up to you, man. That's my guy right there. Thank you so much, Scouser Doyle, for the super chat. And I agree with you. I can't wait till we dunk on that guy's head top. I really hope Jorg doesn't get the job, or me too. I don't think his robust sense of humor is going to get him anywhere. But anyway, listen, 560 people watching us. We're going to end with this final segment because I don't want to keep Tom for too long, you know, or else. Actually, I was going to say something bad there. Big up to Joe, B.I.G., Ryan, Terry, Ash, Nadra, AJ, Jono, Selections, Latan, Buck, Memphis, Doyle, Tom's little girlfriend, Shane, Siddy, FM, and Trust for the super chat. Big up to you guys. W for all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. Make sure you're all liking. Make sure you're all subscribing right now. Keep letting us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, whether you're Tom's girlfriend or not. So, Tom, the game today. Anything? Dunk on his head top, man. Dunk on that fraud. Dunk on that fraud. Mason is a clown. I agree. Thank you. And you are one. This is the most accurate super chat of the whole day, man. Fact. So yeah, anyways, I was saying make sure you like and subscribe. So Tom, final segment, kind of overall thoughts on the game today.
It's just like the same as all the other ones. Decent attack. Shit defense.
Elias, you repeated this comment 100 times. I know. Alhamdulillah, I'm a virgin and I'm proud to be a virgin. 100%. But that doesn't mean I can't make a joke and laugh at it. Look at this guy. Anyway, go ahead, Tom.
This is the same as all the other ones. Good attack. Dodgy defense. Ben Doak's good. There wasn't really anything sort of memorable. It's like I thought Luis Diaz was good today. I know he's a very divisive player at the minute because people worry about Zen. I thought he was. His goal isn't one which I think is end product because I don't think he'd ever recreate that. But I like the way he's driving at players, I like the way he's taking on players. But my big gripe from today, though, fuck me, we need to stop trying to pass it to everyone on the team before we score a goal. The press is dead good. The press is really good. We keep catching teams out in and around their box. And like today, I think it was Jota. Jota tackled the defender, passed it to Diaz. Diaz was in a 2-on-2 or 3-on-2, passed it to Gakpo, great. The space opens up for Gakpo to take a shot. He passed it on to Salah. Salah then passed it back to Gakpo. And the attack dies off because we've tried to be Man City and pass it to everyone on the pitch instead of kicking the fucking football in the goal. We thrive off these quick attacks. We'd stop trying to tippy-tappy. I thought that there was a number of times where we could have just... someone just decided to take it on their own, we would have been better off than trying to pass it through everyone. I think that's something that needs to be figured out again. I think it will be. I think this is just a couple of teams.
The Diaz thing, can you unpack that and be honest for once in your life?
I am honest. I like what I saw from Diaz.
I like what I saw from Diaz as well, but like my thing is if the guy just was able to finish, this guy would score 25 goals. Or like
it's not like I don't have problems with his inconsistency in front of goal. But ultimately, I look at Luis Diaz and go, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. If I have 4 other attackers whose main focus is...
I disagree. I know exactly what you're about to say. Disagree.
That's fine.
Because what if Diaz gets our most dangerous chances? He has to score. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck if Salah scores 40 goals. Diaz needs to score goals too.
I'm not saying Diaz doesn't need to score goals, but I'm not going to sit there and look at Diaz and look at his game as only goals and assists. When I
agree with you, but let's assume Diaz starts all Premier League games. Let's just assume, for the sake of argument, he starts all 38 games, and let's assume we have, you know what, Tom, we have a forward line that's unreal. Mo Salah gets 35 Premier League goals. Gakpo gets 15 and 15 assists. You know, Jota bangs in 15 goals. If Diaz bangs in 20, we win the league just based on the goals.
Then I wouldn't want Diaz. I don't think Diaz is ever going to bang in 20. I think if Diaz is going to end the season with 25 GA, it'll be 10 goals, 15 assists. I don't think Diaz
I'm good with that as well because it means productivity and decision making, which I want.
Yeah, but
it doesn't mean just goals. But at the same time, a final point. I promise I'm going to let you speak. That chance where he was offside in the first half and he missed, do you agree that chances like this he needs to stop missing? It's a reality.
Yeah, obviously you can't miss a chance like that. I'm not saying that's an issue. Like, that isn't an issue. For me, I look at it and go, I have Salah, whose main job is kicking the round thing in the back of the net, and he does that very well. Jota's main thing is kick the round thing in the back of the net. Nunes' main thing is kick the round thing in the back of the net. Gakpo is a little bit more iffy, but he's very good at the output side of things, creating.
Gakpo can do both. I like Gakpo.
Yeah. I look at Diaz and I go, you can bring me something that no one else has. Therefore, I am willing to accept the fact that you are slightly less productive in front of goal than the others, due to the fact that there is no one better in this squad at taking on a man, at sizing up someone and beating them when he's on it. Ultimately, this summer has shown me that his finishing is improving, but he's still in the situation where he needs a tough chance to score. He scores the tough ones and misses the simple ones, and that needs to be ironed out. I just
Speaking of tricky wingers, why didn't you talk about yourself today?
Ben Doak, he's boss, isn't he? He's
so
boss.
So good. I agree with Shane.
17 years of age.
So good. You know what got I really, there was that one moment where you probably thought the same exact thing. He dribbled past like 7 guys. I wish he scored that. I just wish that went in. I just wish that went in.
He just couldn't get off his right foot, and then honestly though, I love Ben Doak.
Is the guy even left-footed or right-footed?
I think he's left-footed. You know. I think he's left. I think he's left.
I've always thought he's left-footed, but today he kind of shocked me a little bit.
I think he's very ambidextrous. Like, he can do left and right.
Isn't that the word you use your hand?
I mean, I think it's the same for your foot. I think ambidextrous just means two-sided. Ultimately, he can do it well with both feet. Like, left foot, right foot, he's fine. His confidence is brilliant.
People are saying he's right-footed. There is no way. Wait, so we've been playing a right-footed right winger?
No, but again, I think it's because he can do both. The fact that he made us think he was left-footed.
Get you somebody who can do both.
I love watching. I think he's so good at beating a man, which is something that I think we've lacked at points. I think
if Klopp don't start him every single Europa League game, I genuinely get annoyed. Genuinely, I want him to get every single one.
Unless we play a massive side in the Europa League.
Group stages, sorry. Let me clarify. Group stages. Okay. Every single group stage.
Yeah, we shouldn't be playing anyone major. I think Ben Doak can start all them. I think he's shown throughout this preseason that he doesn't get fazed by big opponents, by big names. I mean, he's got fantastic strength. His confidence is sky high. I look at Ben Doak and I see someone who could be one of the best wingers in the league in 5 years. I agree. I think the end product is lacking at the minute, which is, that I think something that people aren't understanding is the man is 17. That will come in.
That's why I get on to the 26-year-old Tom. No one's expecting him to be Mane, but can you make better decisions, please? That's it.
I don't disagree, but let's get back on Ben Doak before we have another Luis Diaz argument.
No, I don't want to have a Luis Diaz argument. I just want you to address this. As you're speaking on Ben Doak, just address the rest of the youngsters, because I think this is a very good question from Shane. Just the young players.
Whose class is like Harvey Elliott class as a youngster?
No, I really like. It's that Scanlon kid. I really like that fucker. He can.
I know you do. I don't really see it as much.
I really see it. I think he's technically.
I see Scanlon as someone who needs a good loan next year.
I see Scanlon as someone who could play in the 8 in the future. You know that?
You know what I see Scanlon as?
He's so technically gifted. You could just tell, just natural gift.
I think Scanlon would be the ideal Tsimikas replacement if you played a more traditional back four. I think
so. You've seen Scanlon dribble past people and create so much chaos. You're playing him left back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly why you are not a manager right now. That's exactly why.
I think that would unlock the best of him. I think he'd be able to use his pace a lot more in that role. I think he's deceptively quick, Scanlon. Maybe he could do a job on the left wing, or left back, or left centre. He's very versatile on that side. I think. Who are we classing Harvey Elliott and Curtis?
Shane, actually, let us know, because now I'm curious too. Like, are you talking about like Harvey and Curtis as well, Shane? Just you can just send it in a regular message. You don't even have to super chat again. Just tell me yes or no.
I'll go by the actual youngsters. I think Quansah should stay for the first 6 months of the season. Play him in the Europa League games because I think that is something that we need to take advantage of this year. Oh, for fuck's
ignore it. Let's leave that to the end.
What is the so Quansah should stay 6 months, play the Europa League group stage games, play the Carabao Cup games, and then depending on the situation, how he's developing, how he's getting on, either give him a championship loan second half of the season or keep him around the squad. I think Bobby Clark is someone I'm really enjoying watching. I think there's a really good player in Bobby Clark. I think he's someone who should be in and around the first team squad next season, getting Europa League minutes, getting Carabao Cup minutes, maybe even a couple of appearances off the bench in the Premier League in games that are quite comfortable. Similar to how we integrated Stefan Bajcetic last season, sort of thing, because I think Bobby Clark, there's a real talent there. Ben Doak, I think, should be Europa League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, and when Salah goes to AFCON, I think Ben Doak should be the first choice in that position. I really do.
It depends what he does in the Europa League. I mean, if he bangs in the Europa League, not even GA, if he bangs as in good performances, why not? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
If not, we're going to have to shoehorn Elliot in there.
Yeah, I mean, the other one, the other youngster that there is, I don't know if we're talking about Elliot or Thingy. Or Elliot
no, he said no. He said no.
No, okay. So the other youngster is that McConnell kid. Or there's Conor Bradley as well, touching him at the end. McConnell, I really have no idea because
he has impressed me the least out of all these players.
I think Conor Bradley's the victim of the fact that he's not an inverted right back, and we're trying to play him as one. The man won Bolton Player of the Year as a marauding wing back, so someone who would get forward, overlaps. I mean, he scored loads of goals for them last season as an attacking fullback, and we were trying to make him do deep line playmaker stuff. Ultimately, I think he's going to stay around next year. I think he's going to stay around next year. Oh, hello, Kurdish. Can you ask Tom if we've set the precedent or if we need to put in another bid? For me, if they're asking for more than £50 million, you walk away. If they're asking for 50, then the football club will pay that money and will be made to look like knobheads.
This is exactly why I needed you today, Kurdish, you parrot merchant.
Kurdish, I swear I saw you say you'd walk away from the Lavia deal as well because you don't believe he's worth the money.
Don't make up shit on my Kurdish name, like Kurdish brother's name like that.
Swear
Gakpo
you
in midfield today, by the way. We didn't mention anything about Gakpo in midfield. For me, 100% up front. But I think he's technically gifted to play both. But I'd rather him play 9.
I think it's a tough one. I think he's someone who gets chucked in there as like needs must. But I do think you waste a bit of him. I think when he's able to play up front and drop into the midfield spaces and then get a head of steam going, you can't stop him. So I still think I prefer him up front. But
okay,
we are in agreement. Who was the last young chat to say? McConnell. I think McConnell's a very tough one to call because he's a natural attacking midfielder.
Attacking midfielder.
And we played him at the...
Watching him, you would have never guessed he's an attacking midfielder ever. There's no way.
He's actually a really impressive DM. But I think it's a very hard thing to judge how he should be used next year because I think he's caused himself a lot of problems by being so good at DM that we don't know what position to play him in next year at the youth level. So that'll be one that I will be trying to keep an eye on.
You get me, blood. Big up to you, Tom, man. Maka as a 6 is very good. His defense is brilliant. His ball passing is decent. He is so good on the ball. Szoboszlai set pieces are beautiful. I can't lie, Szoboszlai's corners were elite today. I really liked them. I picked them up during the watch along as well. They were fantastic today, man. And long may it continue.
They're just consistent. Do you know what my biggest gripe is? Every single
good,
time,
unlike Robertson's corners.
Robertson and Trent. Ultimately, I sit there and go with them too.
The level of disrespect to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Why are you forcing it?
I'm not, because also Husam.
The Scouts are in our team. The Scouts are in our team. He's Alexander-Arnold. He's Alexander-Arnold.
To admit that man takes consistent corners would be a lie, and I'm not going to lie.
That's not a lie. That's not a lie. He takes consistent corners.
they're more consistent than Robertson, but they're not consistent.
Listen,
But that is because Robertson's are incredibly inconsistent. That man doesn't know whether he wants to clear the first man half the time or not. When I look at them two compared to Szoboszlai, and the fact that Szoboszlai can consistently pick out a Liverpool player, that is a major change. A major change, and it's a positive one. The issue I'm going to have with it is it's just going to expose how shit Virgil van Dijk is at scoring them.
Okay, I hear you. Big up to you, Paul. Get Shawnee from LFC Day Trippers on would be a good debate. No, because he called me a sap, which I think is an Irish insult. So I'm not going to get him on. And he followed me and then unfollowed me because I think I upset him with all the FSG Out shit. I think he's FSG Out now, but it's too late to join the party. By the way, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Still 500 people here. Jono is asking another question. Big up to you, Jono, for your support. Tom saying Jota up front or on the wing. On the wing. If Gakpo's fit on the wing, I'm sorry.
I think in the first choice 11 he plays on the wing, but I've always preferred him up front because I think he's a poacher. I think the best side of Jota is his poaching game.
You're so sad, Tom. You're actually sad.
How am I sad?
You're actually sad.
How am I sad?
So if Gakpo's fit, you want to play Jota down the middle?
No.
You know how shit it would be if Gakpo's on the left and Jota.
Oh my god, Husam just doesn't listen. The first sentence I said was, if Gakpo's fit, you play Jota on the wing, but I prefer him in the middle. Because Gakpo and Salah are first two choice attackers. For me, though, Jota is a better poacher. Because I believe that Jota is our best finisher, or certainly our most complete finisher at the football club. So for me, you get your most complete finisher in and around the box, and he does that up front.
Here we go, this complete finisher crap. Let me not just say anything. You guys think Elliot has a future here? I don't. I think he definitely has a future. I feel like Elliot is so harshly judged sometimes.
Oh
I don't think he's...
Oh my god, I fucking... Oh, yes.
Look at this guy acting. Why are you acting like I wasn't on the Elliot front lines last summer? Fuckface.
Last summer, yeah. What we like last season.
Okay, so did he perform this season in the position?
Last season, I thought he was all right. I think everyone was... I think the whole thing about the whole Elliot disrespecting...
His positioning wasn't right 90%
stemmed from last season. I don't think he was as bad as was made out last season.
90%, no, but 90%, no, that's not what I'm saying. I think he's being harshly judged, as in I think he has a future and he can play, but I just don't think he's positionally smart to play that position. How's that an insult, man? You're always such a drama queen, Tom. I don't get you sometimes. You love to be dramatic for no reason.
No, shut up.
I think he has a future as a 10.
Harvey Elliott, for me, is someone who I reckon will play probably Europa League minutes in that Szoboszlai role. And it's between him and Ben Doak for the minutes when Salah goes. But I believe he does have a future at the football club. I think he's a brilliant player. And I think last season is a very harsh basis to judge him by when he was played out of position for the majority of it in a very dysfunctional Liverpool team. If we were using last season as a basis to judge players off on its own, Trent wouldn't be here. Robertson wouldn't be here. God knows other players. Van Dijk probably wouldn't be here. Like, I think it's very hard to use last season as a measuring stick.
Kurdish, you've got blood on your hands. Once at the back from the pet shop with a parrot. Love to see it. Love to see it, Ranchili, man. Big up to you. You guys risk Thiago or Bajcetic against Chelsea. I don't even think they're both an option yet. I think they're still covering to begin with.
No,
they're not. You know
there's absolutely no point in risking them because it goes against
forget even that. I wish that question was even able to be answered. You can't even answer that shit because it's not even an option to begin with, Ash. So that's just the reality, man. Big up to you.
In reality, like they both went back into training on Saturday. They didn't make the squad today like I expected, but they'll have done a week of team training. So they might make the bench. But
come on.
But the whole point of Thiago this season is you finally get to use him as the luxury player. A luxury player doesn't get brought on or doesn't start the first game of the season when they're 50% fit. And neither does an 18-year-old. Like, it goes against it. It completely goes against what the point of it is.
I hear you, Tom. I hear you. Sometimes you make valid points. Shane says, what about the academy? Who do you like the most?
Oakley Cannoneer. I think that's a real good striker.
Can't lie, you need to go to Tom Little for your dose of academy. I don't really watch the Liverpool academy like that, nor will I claim to and lie to your faces. So, you know, it is what it is. Oakley, who? Say his name again.
The only reason I watch the academy is because we have the weirdest academy setup in the world. Because
I thought you were gonna say because your cousin plays for the team or something.
No. But
wait, let me ask you a genuine question. You don't know anyone who plays for the Liverpool academy?
No.
You don't know anyone who plays for the Everton academy?
No.
Do you know anyone who plays for the Tranmere academy?
No.
Wow. Okay.
I know one or two played for the. I don't know if they still do, but I know one or two played for the Blackburn academy and the Wigan academy.
Well, okay, that was fair enough. Fair enough. So you're friends with Wolves.
Look at this shit. No, I think with our academy, the weird thing that we do is when you look at the way Chelsea and City do it, they have like from under 9 level to senior level, they play the same way, don't they? They play that one random football.
4-3-3.
Do you want to know what's funny, Husam?
What's funny?
What formation would you least associate Jurgen Klopp using?
You want to hear honestly? 3-5-2.
Oh, you wouldn't guess what system the under-21.
There's no way. We actually play 3-5-2.
We played the 3-5-2 last season.
With 2 strikers as well.
That's do you want to know who the second striker beside Cannoneer was for the majority of it?
I do know, Doyle. Who?
Frauendorf.
No, I got it. Oh, you know what? You know what? I won't even. Listen, we're getting told off by your girlfriend here. Happy birthday, honey. Finish up and come see Mbappe. I left this comment to the end. I'm not putting any other super chat up on the screen after this because this is the way we're ending the show. So I'm going to say big up to Tom Little's girlfriend. I promise you, I'm going to let him go. Thank you so much to Tom Little's girlfriend. Thank you so much to Red Chili, Paul, Trippy, Doyle, Shane, Siddy, FM, Trust, Joe, BIG, Ryan, Terry, Ash, Nadra, AJ, Jono, Selections, Latan, Buck, and Memphis for the super chats. Big up to you guys. We're going to go around to the lovely panel. They're going to let you know where you could find them. Big up, man. Big up. So, Tom, where can people find you, my brother?
Tom Little with the one on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, the works. I think today I hit 800 subs, and a month ago I was on 500, which is fucking mental. The last 2 long streams that I've done have both done over 1K views. So massive thank you to everyone who's been watching. More content coming. Anyone
else you want to thank?
No, I think that's it. You know, big up James Redmond because you know he's been a big help for me.
Did you actually just say that?
Yeah.
So you're actually not going to say anything else?
you know I refuse to I will not thank you publicly.
Big up to Tom Little's girlfriend. He's coming to you now. See you guys later, man. Peace out.